In Seattle, Democratic Mayor Jenny Durkan plans to sign a new 2021 city budget that will cut the police budget there by 18%. At the same time, homicides in the city hit the highest level in more than a decade. Well, joining me now is Seattle-based radio show host Jason Rantz. Jason, thanks for joining me. So,
thanks for having me.
We heard, obviously, the mayor of your fair city refer to what was going on there, the violence and the vandalism and the rioting over the summer as a summer of love. Now we see homicides rising. They're cutting the police budget. Can we expect a winter of love too?
Yeah, I imagine so. I mean, think about the irony, the tragic irony of this. As the Seattle City Council was debating how much more they were going to defund the Seattle police, there were two stabbings. One of the stabbings was just a random person who was walking in downtown Seattle, stabbed in the neck. The good news is he's going to be okay. The bad news is that second stabbing was a caseworker who was working in essentially a facility for formerly homeless people who are getting help to get their lives back in order. She was stabbed to death. This was happening while we were talking about cutting more funds from the police. We have 55 homicides this year. That's up, for context, from 28 last year. This is the highest we've had in at least 12 years. Things are not going well in Seattle, but I can't say that I'm surprised by these statistics.
What's the political reaction been, Jason? I mean, we just had an election here where a lot of Democrats put their hand up after the election and said this whole defund the police thing was a disaster for their party, especially in congressional, in House races. And yet here you are, as you say, you've got rising crime, you've got these terrible stabbings, and you're cutting the police budget. What's the political reaction been?
Well, the political reaction in the Pacific Northwest, generally speaking, is much different than what's going on nationally. Here, you embrace some of the fringe progressive and socialist beliefs, and you end up getting reelected. If you've got a D next to your name, the chances are, including if you're literally a sack of potatoes, you're going to have a high chance, if not for sure, a certainty that you're going to actually get elected or reelected, regardless of your results as someone who's already been in office. And so simply taking on and parroting some of the talking points coming from the activist community basically means that you're going to be in power for a very long time. I mean, we are, just to, again, put it in perspective, we're going into year 16 of a 10-year plan to end homelessness. So we don't necessarily judge results here in Seattle. We judge talking points and the ability to kowtow and placate some of the very loud and very angry activists. And right now, those activists happen to be anti-police, and they're the ones who have the ears of the council and the mayor's office.
And you're still getting, widespread violence and vandalism. These people, supposedly, Joe Biden seems to have been elected president. We all thought, this was all kind of a bullying tactic by some of these left-wing radicals in the run-up to the election that, vote for us or we're going to burn your city. But, you vote for Joe Biden and the city's still burning. So what's going on? What do they want? What do they actually, I see these signs here of more dead cops. Is it really just pure anarchy? Do they want to actually destroy all the institutions of society like that?
So it's actually kind of interesting. You have two different groups within that larger BLM movement here in Seattle. Number one, we've cut the police department's budget by 18%. There are some that want that cut by 50%. Now, the council said that was their end goal, but they did acknowledge that maybe they threw that number out there a little bit too quickly, but they still intend to get to 50%. So the group was they're the victims of being overpromised and underdelivered. But then you've got another very loud group. It's much smaller than the 50% crowd that literally want to see the abolition of police. They want to get rid of prisons. They want to get rid of prison sentences. They're not hiding some of these positions, and they do have allies, whether it's on the Seattle City Council or the King County Council or the state legislators in Olympia. They do have some people who are starting to parrot some of these more fringe positions, or at least, if not fully adopting them, they are at least sympathetic towards them. And it's just empowering these people. Last night we had essentially a riot of marauding protesters who were out there doing what they do, vandalizing big business, terrorizing neighborhoods. Police not really allowed to do their jobs. And, part of the problem is we've got the lowest police deployable staff that we've had in the city of Seattle since 1990. So let that sink in. We are seeing a mass exodus of officers who are continuing to leave. We've seen almost 150 officers this year who have left. I believe, based on my sources that I'm talking to, that number is going to get closer to 200 in the next month. We've got about 100 officers who already have applications out to different agencies around the region. This is not going to get better.
Jason, thank you very much. From the People's Republic of Seattle, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much.